Alrighty, man, we are back with another duty episode, man. You guys can see the title of this episode, to Prestige Master. But being on the road to Prestige, now we're gonna listen to your boy Alex Jones, because I know damn well he's going off right now. Election is tomorrow and this, that, and third. So with that being said, man, I got it pulled up here. Hopefully it'll be good enough for y'all to be able to hear. The microphone is quite. See if I can pick this up and bring it a little closer. Do it just like that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this shit, man. I'm gonna go ahead and play this video.
Alex Jones' net worth is tomorrow's news today.
Make sure that we can hear that.
Alex Jones' net
Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. Oh yeah, that's good. All right, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the eve of the November 5th, 2024 election.
What the fuck? Thank you. Alright, so with that being said, we're gonna kill some people on Call of Duty and we're gonna listen to Alex Jones. So let's get this shit going, man.
60% of the country estimated to have voted. We have the Democrats caught in mass wholesale election fraud, and we have a battle between federal judges that are authorizing it, but also higher courts shooting it down. Huge developments on that front. We have Elon Musk and bombshell Joe Rogan interview today that I had to bite my tongue because I knew about it beforehand. And all of the huge developments there. Musk warning that if the Harris-Walz regime continues to stay in power after their coup over Biden, X will be shut down along with everybody else's free speech. There is so much to hit tonight. And I'm here in the backup studios, the fledgling studios of the Alex Jones Network on X. Follow us there at AJN Live, because as early as next Wednesday, InfoWars to be shut down, up for auction. If good guys don't buy it, we are gone.
Damn.
But the fight continues on, ladies and gentlemen. So that's a major news story. We've got some updates on that towards the end of this emergency transmission. And then tomorrow, the story, the InfoWars videos in South Austin. Harris Smith, 8 a.m. Myself, 11 a.m. Owen Shore, 3 p.m. And I'm going to continue on with Owen and with Harris Smith, Robert Barnes, and Viva Fry, and Minnie Johnson, and if just the list goes on and on and on of folks that are going to be Steven Crowder. It's going to be a massive transmission, and Crowder's going in one. It's very expensive, $4 million. Hired all the experts to be able to, he has jacked in the actual live feeds the networks go off of. So Fox tries to call places like Arizona, like they did 4 years ago.
Turn game volume down. Is it loud?
All that will be simulcasting them as
Hold
well.
on, let me see.
An incredible transmission tomorrow, November 5th, 2024. As Trump said yesterday in Pennsylvania, 9-year battle to remove the globalists, the New World Order. Musk declared war on the New World Order today, and the globalists, the tyranny of the one world government, unelected bureaucrats that want to enslave us. It is amazing. But first, globalists have been attacking me hard for decades, but really intensely for 7 years. They crushed the crew back to about half their size, doing a great job. These folks have been working 15, 16, 17 hours a day. They'll be working 18 hours a day the next few days. So I really appreciate them and pray for them. But if we had the full crew of production folks, we're down about 8 people just in production from everything that's going on, you would have the clips of me last
Let me know if
week
that sounds better or not.
saying on the eve of the election or on election day, events have been telegraphed that right-wing terrorists will hit the power grid. And magically, the feds bust today a supposed white supremacist accelerationist who was going to fly a drone into a power station in Colorado, Tennessee on election eve. And then you read the arrest report, and they admit the feds have been handling him for a long time, were supplying him with what he thought were explosives, and were his fellow white supremacist New Age leaders of the New Age about to begin. I mean, a total kookball. I don't mean this to be mean, but he looks like he has an extra chromosome, and that's what we're dealing with. His name is Skylar Philippi, 24, of Columbia, Tennessee. And you can read here from the press release.
Hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to figure it out.
Where they admit that they had confidential human sources and the agents and all of that around him, giving him what he thought were real bombs. The same story we've seen with the Islamists and others over and over. He was also going to do a mass shooting at a YMCA facility. So, you know, this guy was trans or whatever. They'd cover it up like the Nashville shooter. And of course that cover up came out. And you can see it all for yourself right here. But this guy thought he was a baby Hitler and a real tough guy, of course, being run by the feds. Man arrested after federal officials say he sought to destroy Nashville power site. And here you have in the affidavit, he participated in a Nordic ritual which included reciting a Nordic prayer and discussing the Norse god Odin. Felipe told the UCAs, the feds, that this is where the New Age begins and that it was time to do something big that would be remembered in the annals of history. Felipe.
Okay, let me pause it for a second. So there's literally no option for me to turn just the game volume itself down. So if it's real bad, I don't know if this whole idea will work or not. Like, is it really that bad? No, bro, I'm looking at it right now. There's no option for me to turn the game volume itself down. I can turn like the microphone volume up and down, but not the game volume. I didn't even think about that. Alright, but hold on. Alright, we're gonna try this now. Get back in the game. Alright, so let me know once we get in the game. Let me know if it's still bad or not. I just went into the actual game set. I don't know why I didn't even think about the game settings. Let me know if it sounds better or not, or if I need to just turn it all the way down. It's pretty much almost all the way down, anyways.
And the UCEs drove the undercover folks to the operation site. They moved their assigned positions and lookouts for him. Law enforcement agents arrested him when he was taken into custody. He was at the rear of the vehicle with his drone powered up. An explosive device was armed and located next to the drone. And oh, they've got their magic white supremacists now, don't they? Now, this is exactly what you did before you're going to launch real terror attacks. Oh, we foiled one, but we didn't get them all. And oh, the Trump supporters. Remember, when Russia working through Trump supporters might bring down the power grid during the election. Yes, and those cyber attacks, and they're imminent. A cyber attack will make COVID look like a inconvenience in the angrier world. So we've got that information. We've got Elon Musk on Rogan today, and then discussing how January 6th was provocateur action and how Alex Jones was right. I wasn't going to play that clip till I realized it dovetails with this story that just broke in the last 3 hours. So there is so much on that front, as I mentioned. Massive victories all over the country against the election fraud machine as it all comes out in the open. We're going to cover the latest developments and recaps of the other huge developments on that front coming up. We've also got the White House, other areas of D.C. being fenced off. We've got all these different Democrat cities saying they're getting ready.
Oh my gosh. It's one thing I hate about Rumble is the fucking ads that it has on here, bro.
For anarchy if Trump wins, or for right-wingers to attack. This is an epic time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. And you're seeing some basic barriers there. We showed footage on my show. They have just giant fences being put up all in front of the White House, Capitol, all of it. So we've got that information. Speaking of power grid, top California power company to conduct public safety power outages across state on election day. 7,000 plus polling locations potentially affected. How convenient. Speaking of losing power, the elites and the leftist mob would rather burn it all to the ground. A big John Bound report up on Infowars.com that we don't get to. You definitely want to go watch and share and post to X. Remember, everything you see at Man.video, everything you see at Infowars.com. Our crew's working 18 hours a day right now. And a lot of the stuff we even create for Infowars never even makes it to my X account. That's how just overwhelmed with data and information and everything. You are the Infowar. You take it. You upload it. You share it. It's key to follow me in Real Alex Jones. And in case they try to take that, which they are trying to do, in case they're successful,
is that up enough or not?
At AJN Live on X. And we thank you all. Okay. I'm going to be getting into all this and a lot more. We've got some of the top analysts in the country that are projecting a massive Trump win as well. 312 electoral votes to Harris's 226. And even mainline Democrat pollsters say it looks like a Trump landslide, but wait. The Democrats are promising that this is going to take weeks or now months, and then they can gin up some type of crises, some type of violence, and blame Trump supporters. I mean, I've been talking about the last pieces of the puzzle. Trump supporters are white supremacists, which they're not, and white supremacist Trump supporters are going to strike and mass shoot and blow up the power grid and knock out the election. It's going to happen. And then, of course, it magically starts. Now, hopefully the feds are just going to bust some of their patsies, and that doesn't look like that to me. It looks like, oh, let's bust a few or bust one, and then looks like we're still good guys, and boy, we can't stop them all. When the power grid really doesn't get hit tomorrow, they're going to try to hold the election off
shooting a fucking mannequin, bro.
Fraud, so they can keep polling tabulation centers going for weeks or months, and then the terrorist attack, and then all those executive orders and martial law preparations. The Pentagon reports they're preparing to shoot Americans during civil unrest. That's all official mainstream news. Well, then all of that can be brought in under the cover of keeping us all safe. So we're going to be breaking it all down and more. We're going to have Harrison Smith, Andrew Hernandez pop in with us as well. And again, if you're here looking at the little podcast news desk room, we're also got the other larger podcast interview studio almost there, and just a lot of other stuff with our great sponsors, the AlexJonesStore.com. Because, you know, the globalists will attack anything I own, anything I run, anything whatever. But that's fine. We've got all these partners and friends that are going to help us continue on no matter what. We've been busy fighting the globalists, so working with those folks. We haven't gotten everything finished, but I can do interviews in here. Video's good. The sound's good. We've got this basic situation, and we are shut down next week. And we've got the larger interview area. When I have interviews, I'll just go into the other larger studio and sit around more of a Joe Rogan style podcast deal and have the interview that way, which is something I wanted to do for a long time. Cool. You know, old classic talk radio was a bunch of microphones, and that's basically what podcasting thing is, just for TV. So I'm kind of looking forward that. I don't want to look forward to InfoWars being shut down, but it's exciting to be doing new stuff, not giving up and surrendering. But as you can see over here, we got this camera. We'll punch that up. And when I interview a guest remotely, we can talk to them right here and a lot more. So it's cozy, but I like it. And we built those big studios, so I wanted to have me 24 hours a day news desk. I wanted to be live on air doing my show, Cutting the News Desk. And when we got to that point for a while, 2016, 2017, but under all the massive attacks, it just kind of crushed us down, but it didn't crush our reach. It actually created a Streisand effect, and more people wanted our information. And so we can say that InfoWars is reaching as many people now in the year 2024 as we were in 2016, 2017. But it has been a long, hard fight, and we couldn't have done it without you. But I can tell you, not just X, but all over the place, people are not buying this FBI situation. Even the New York Times, back when it was half decent 20 years ago, had headlines like, majority of terror plots were hatched and run by the FBI.
Interesting.
And it could be a white supremacist, it could be an Islamic extremist, it could be whatever, but usually they're low IQ morons, or in the case of Whitmer, they're a bunch of homeless people that just want marijuana and Happy Meals. Literally, I want a cheeseburger. And well, you got a promise to kidnap her, the FBI agent would say, and I'll give you $5,000.
Hell no.
And so that thing came out in court to be totally fake, and I would say, look for something like this, and then the affidavit and the arrest, the press release say they were handling him and running him, and he thought he was with his white supremacist compadres that were obviously encouraging him through peer pressure to do this, because that's the standard MO, and they're not even denying that. Now there's one of the headlines from the New York Times, terrorist plots hatched by the FBI. But Trump has put out his final campaign ad today, and I missed it. It's powerful. Folks said, you got to watch this. The crew did. So I did right before we went live here, and it is very, very important. Your choice, tyranny or liberty. Here is the ad.
Nothing worth doing ever came easy. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Never, ever quit. Never quit. Adversity makes you stronger. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedoms. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way.
Before Trump be standing on business,
When they couldn't beat
he
him,
said,
they tried to
treat the word impossible like it's motivation. That's what a lot of people sit around and have trouble with. They sit around and think that they want to do something, but when they get into hard times, when they're struggling, they sit around and think, ooh, well, it's going to be impossible for me to do this and that. It's like, when you use the word impossible negatively, it's going to impact you negatively. But like Trump said, you treat it as motivation, bro. That's 100% facts.
Bankruptcy. President Trump is back in a New York City courtroom.
When that didn't work, they tried to put him in federal prison.
Raided by the FBI.
When that didn't work, they even tried to kill him.
They just tried to kill President Trump.
Donald Trump still stands, ready to fight, ready to win, and ready to make America great again.
Hey.
Choose real American leadership and a real American battle. The 45th and soon to be 47th President Donald J. Trump.
Dude, Trump is a G, bro. Like, can y'all really believe that we are, like, alive right now witnessing this shit? Alex Jones said it's the greatest time to be alive. It's the greatest time to be alive, and it's also kind of the scariest time to be alive, too, honestly. Knowing that the fucking Democrats can cheat and get away with it like they have been doing. Like they did do. Like, like literally out there, and they can get away with it. And do whatever the fuck they want to do. Kind of this time, they get in again, boy, we're fucked.
America affordable again. I will cut your energy costs in half. It's time for the working man and woman to finally catch a break. We are going to bring back the American dream, bigger, better, and...
Was it because my I don't know.
Stronger than ever before. When I'm back in the White House, we will restore world peace, and it will be again peace through strength. I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. And we'll put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. We all salute the same great American flag. Our best days are yet to come. Together, we will make America great again.
That don't make no sense. I don't know why it's acting like that.
All right, so I want to go to a clip of Musk and Rogan today talking about, and it's a longer...
What the fuck is that?
About how they staged it, how Trump tried to stop it, how it was a setup. And then Rogan goes into the example of how I informed him and showed him videos of it, made a film about it. Please stay tuned.
What the fuck?
That shows the police admitting, and undercovers admitting, and police went public, that they were hired by the feds.
Oh my gosh, bro. Fucking ads. Bro, I'm getting fucked on this map, bro. Fuck out of here, ad. Dude. Fuck off.
By the U.S. Army Delta Force, that's in the local newspaper, to stage attacks as a pretext to then attack the peaceful crowds and ban protest against the globalists. Because they didn't want the left protesting the globalists. Now the left's bought and paid for by the globalists. So with this clear, obvious provocateur event where the FBI just saved everybody from a power grid attack that they were admittedly leading and running as the leaders of the religious white supremacist group standard operating procedure. And again, you've got all this pre-programming that all this is going to be happening. It's important to focus in on the false flag situation because it's the final ingredient for all the preparation we've seen as I've been harping and harping and harping. And then boom, on the eve of the election, this happens. This does not look good. So I don't think they're probably going to stop with just busting somebody. They'll bust somebody up front to make it look like, again, oh, we caught one, we're sorry. So here is Musk and Rogan on Jan 6 and other false flags.
When they deplatformed the sitting president, not the deplatformed Trump, that was just insane. And the things he was posting, like he was posting things that like he was posting good things. He was saying like, hey, do not riot, don't do any destruction of property, please stay calm. That's the kind of stuff he was posting.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's wrong with that?
And then there's the fact that we know that there was agents in the crowd that were agent provocateurs that were encouraging people to do illegal shit.
Yes.
We know that for a fact.
That's wild when you think about it.
It was always the big Alex Jones type tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, because Alex proposed that back at the World Trade Organization protests. I believe we're in Seattle in the 90s. And they sent in agent provocateurs, started smashing things, lighting things on fire. Now all of a sudden the peaceful protest is no longer peaceful.
Right.
They move in the cops, they shut everything down. They had it set up where it was a no protest zone, where you couldn't even have a pin that had the WTO with a red line through it. They wouldn't let you go in through to go to work. So you couldn't protest, you couldn't exercise your First Amendment rights. You couldn't even like have a peaceful protest, a fucking sticker on your car. You couldn't have that. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Rogan was on fire during the interview. Musk did a great job. A really powerful clip of Musk is coming up where he declares war on the New World Order. This is a big deal.
Oh, I've heard about this clip. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it. I've seen it floating around. I hadn't watched it, but it sounds very interesting. This dude Elon Musk is really out here standing on business.
Explain why from my perspective. I'll get into all the breaking election news in a moment. That's just, again, so important. Another huge win. Georgia Supreme Court reverses lower court's decision, blocks Democrat run Cobb County from counting absentee ballots after Election Day, which they were going to do all over the state. RNC sues Milwaukee Election Commission for limiting poll watchers. Just in, Pennsylvania judge smacks down Philly Soros DA refuses to block Elon Musk's 1 million daily giveaway. It's totally legal. Developing Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton deploys election day rapid response legal team to monitor the voting process, puts AG activist groups on notice. Election game changer. Federal judge orders 1.2 million suspected fraudulent names on the Arizona voter rolls be made public. Mike Yoder reports. I mean, this is just devastating, proving what they did in 2020, right as we go into 2024. And all the experts agree, and the legalese, this is just going to destroy the system. So even if they're successfully steal this from Trump, which I don't think is going to happen, I just gut level, this is too big. Unless they kill Trump with a surface air missile, or bomb him, or shoot him, I mean, that may happen. Pray it doesn't. So we're going to be getting to all of that in a moment. Now I'd sent the guys a lot of ads. That's my fault. They aired another great Trump ad I hadn't seen just now. This is the one about your choice, America, liberty or tyranny. And this was also posted as Trump's final ad. There's a bunch of final ads today, but here it is.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
Let's go, boy.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
Man, you can feel the energy just from that campaign ad alone, bro. Like, that's crazy. Like, when you think about it, bro, like, we're really like in a war. In a sense, like, it's legit a war for our way of life. And when you put it like that, then it's like reality hits you. Like, holy shit. You're like, damn, bro, like this shit is real. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to hear about it and think about it, read about it, and like history and whatnot. But when you actually live it, it's a whole different fucking story. When it finally hits you, you're like, damn. Like, you can know about something, you could talk about something, but talking about it lightly, it makes it easier to, I guess you could say, accept. But whenever you're actually like focusing on something like that, whenever that shit's really going down, it's a whole different story, my boy. Whole different fucking story. It's crazy.
Wow is all I can say. We've got the good guys, they've got the bad guys. The choice has never been clearer. And the moment of truth is here. I mean, tomorrow we're going to find out whether Trump can landslide it so big that he wins tomorrow decisively, which Roger Stone says is a very good chance, and he's very accurate. He was very pessimistic 4 years ago. Privately said he's barely going to win. They're going to steal it. He was dead on. And this is definitely a bigger landslide than 2016. But they're still trying to steal it. The good news is this time they're being caught everywhere. They're going, yeah, illegal aliens are voting. Federal judges are saying they can. Yeah. And the Supreme Court slaps it down in one state, Virginia. The point is it's out in the open now. And all of these fake voter registrations by Democrat Party groups in Michigan and in Pennsylvania and Arizona and in Nevada and in Georgia. And I mean, they're just being caught everywhere. And you've got the RNC run by the Trumps now that is just doing light years better than 4 years ago. There was no ground game, none of that. And by the way, it's always been in elections that the parties watch each other. Democrats do that too. They used to be the biggest ones doing it. Now they're like, oh, they run most elections. Even in Republican areas, they get their people in. They're trying to say you shouldn't question it. The State Department goes around policing the world's elections, and by their own barometer, their own yardstick, their own gauge, our elections are some of the worst in the world.
Damn.
France can count 36 million votes in one night. They do it precinct by precinct, just like we used to. And if you look until 2016 and Trump won, almost always elections were that night or the next day. Almost always that night.
Right.
Now since he won, it's normal. In Maricopa County today, they're in Arizona. They said, it's going to go on for weeks. This is quite normal. They said, don't ask questions. You're hateful and you're violent. Somebody's going to kill poll workers. Trump supporters are kill poll workers. They've been really telegraphing a false flag against poll workers because that's the final piece. It's like I said, attacks on power grid. Here it is, eve of the election. I mean, this stuff is right out of central casting. They don't even hide it. They're like, yeah, we're running this guy. We cooked him up. We got him all hopped up and sent him out and then stopped him. Well, at least they stopped it. The first World Trade Center bombing, it came out even again in the New York Times, Washington Post, federal court. They hired an Egyptian CIA.
Bro, fuck off, you stupid ass ad. You're gonna get me killed. Fuck, bro.
Bomb. Then they said, cook a real one. Then they said, let the bombing go forward. He taped him and released it the day after the bombing in a press conference.
Hell no.
He thought he was being set up. So he said, it's going to be a real bomb, but we'll have a fake detonator. Then they put a real detonator in, and he ran out of there. So this, and I've interviewed him on Salon. That's in the InfoWars archives that the bad guys are so desperate to take over and shut down, but it's already free to air. It already always belonged to the public. I always said it did. Like if I wrote a book and said it's publishing free, I don't own it, it belongs to the world, so you can't later come back about it, clear bankruptcy and say you own that book. That's a side issue. Or the creator of Linux says, here it is, it's free to the world. You can't come back 35, 40 years later and say, no, now, the creator of Linux went bankrupt, so we own it. Well, he gave it away free. I'm allowed to paint a painting and say it belongs to you, or write a song and say it belongs to you. This always belonged to the people. It's always been about getting around the censors, and they've always used that for censorship. So that's why I did that. So, there we are on that front. Now, Musk said something yesterday, but he retweeted it, posted it on X, and it got like, last time I checked, 40 million views, of him saying the New World Order is the enemy, globalists is the enemy, and we've got to understand the UN is elected. We don't sit there, we don't vote for them. And we all know that. The general public's just now getting this. So look at how pointing out world government, how it's tyrannical, how it's unelected, how it wants to control our bodies and our borders is now front and center. How far we've come because of your activism. And again, this broadcast is recognized.
Bro, I'm getting sick of these fucking flash
by the Carnegie Endowment,
bro.
by the CIA, in their enemy publications that this is the broadcast. Not me, all of us together. And that's why it's so important now, after the years that we've held on, and our best work is to come, that you keep sharing the articles and videos, you keep praying for the broadcast. Thank you for doing it. I can't do it without you. You're not part of the operation, you're everything. You're not the tail, you're not the snout, you're not the paws, you're not the guts, you're not the blood, you're not the brain, you're not the bones of the dog, you're the whole dog. We're in this together. So I need your support. Sponsor, thealexjonesstore.com. Great products, great sponsor to keep us on the air.
Oh my
and I'm going to stop plugging them out, but separately, there are fundraising items that are at www.realalexjones.com. And when you go to realalexjones.com, you will see limited edition InfoWars poster, InfoWars Lives Forever, and another one that says 1776 worldwide. There are only a few thousands of each one, And then I say it's a fundraiser. Those obviously, those posters in the tube and you know all that costs like $8-9. They're glossy, really nice. They just came in. I'll show you them tomorrow. But they're $50. It's just like when you on NPR, if you're a communist, they already get hundreds of millions of taxpayer money, $500 million a year, but you know, they have $100 for a coffee mug. The coffee mug costs them $6-7, or $100 for a T-shirt costs them $15. You know it's marked up. It's that you fundraised. You were part of the communist New World Order evil, and so you got your memento of the evil deed you committed. Okay, so obviously when you go to realalexjones.com, that's because you really want to support and you want that historic big black poster. Maybe we can pull those up and show folks. I know I kind of just threw this at you, but if you go to realalexjones.com, you can see them right there on the page. One is a Star Wars-esque poster. The other is white on black, red on black. Very striking posters with you know, liberty-based slogans. And again, if you just go to realalexjones.com or the crew can, we will show you that. There it is. InfoWars lives forever with my signature. Definitely leftists hate that. Guaranteed. And custom badass knife that said realalexjones.com. And if you want to know a real knife for defense, a real knife for war, on one side, my signature etched on the other, and it's got the skull crusher and it's got the knuckles, and this is a real warfare knife. This is you already know this. Yeah, it's Elon Musk all over international television, all over TV, all over the internet, massive on X. And this is where we had to go. Identify the unelected UN, identify their world government plan, identify the pandemic treaties, identify them and down right now that Trump's promised to shoot down. I mean, this is happening. This is a war for our very perfect, no, but they're not anti-human and they're not anti-industrial society. They're not anti-family. Remember, Musk talked about best buddies with the heads of Google 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They're like, yeah, there's just too many humans. He's like, well, I'm pro-human. They're like, well, you're a natalist. A natalist likes family, likes children. I mean, this is a sick cult, people. And I've been.
What the fuck? A natalist? When did we start labeling people who actually care about their families and shit? That don't make no sense at all. What you mean, bro? Is it still live, bro? Let me know if it's still going. Oh, okay, bet. Because it just told me that it wasn't good enough to stream. Alright, give me a second and I'll start playing it again.
Like, how are they getting away with this? Why isn't humanity mobilizing to say no to eating bugs and having nothing and liking it? I don't like it. And so it's happening. I didn't think it'd be hard to mobilize humanity against this. I mean, I think you're like me, for God's sakes. I say all the time. So when the globalists tried to hire me over and over again, and some of it on record, I've talked about it. Notice they didn't refute it. They would say, you're on a crusade going nowhere. Be a star, work with us, have a seat at the table, blah, blah, blah. Everybody else gets that speech, folks, goes, oh, sure, yeah. Well, guess what? I don't want to sell out my own species. People may love the devil, I don't. So thank you, listeners, for keeping me in the fight against the people, because we are making some major strides. Here's Elon Musk.
I'm against globalist power. The UN should not have a lot of power. It's like, who voted for them? I didn't vote for them. And it's like, we want power to the people. The power should maximum power to the individual. And so, like, we should not have any sort of international treaty to restrict the freedom of Americans, and we should minimize the amount of federal interference at the state level. So it should be like, so unless it's at the state level, which is something you can influence, then really agencies at the federal and the national level should have minimal to zero power over you. Yeah.
He's speaking facts.
So again, Musk a few years ago, when his company was a little bit of trouble, how do you raise money? Fun little flamethrowers that you have out at the farm or wherever, and you shoot the flamethrower at your fire and catch it, and people made fun of it, but he made some money, and it was a fun thing. This is fun, and it's key to defend yourself. That's what this is all about. We have to build our own infrastructure. You've got to fund our own infrastructure. when you fund the infrastructure for InfoWars, you're funding your own infrastructure of liberty. I know I keep saying that, but we are very, very up to the wire here and need more funds. I'll leave it at that. Because we're under attack by these people. We didn't have all the lawfare. That's over half of our expenditures constantly, and that's okay. It's part of waging war against the tyrants. They wage war back at us. But that's what's going on.
Fucking ads, bro. Come on, go. Yes, sir.
That's why
I'm dead.
You know, we sit there and come to you and say, hey,
No,
help
I'm
us,
not.
because don't you want people fighting for you?
That's tough.
Because if you don't stand for your champions and back them, who's going to back you?
Right.
All right. This isn't a Netflix show. It's not some entertainment program. This is a real, this isn't a simulation. Now, there's lots of stuff in the world that looks like it's real, but that is a simulation. But the real universe is real, and we cover real topics here. All right. We'll get to the election news and stuff, but this is a big deal we talked about on Rogan, and it's really true. If Kamala Harris, the documents have come out with MI6 and the CIA, they are going to shut down X. This Musk isn't going to sell it. So they're going to attack it and attack it and attack it, just like they've done InfoWars, but it's a much bigger target, until they think they're going to shut it down with lawfare. It came out in the New York Times 2 weeks ago. A multi-100-point plan with all these law firms and corporations and governments and the EU. The Kamala Harris regime, she's already in power. They're trying to extend it now with a fake election. They're going to stand down the State Department, the U.S. government, while the EU shuts down Elon Musk, and while Brazil seizes Starlink and other stuff if he didn't bow to them. So, and he's betting on humanity. It's real. You cannot fake the attacks. You cannot fake his devastation of their operations. You don't get up and say the UN's not elected. We need to get away from them and they're tyrants, and I'm against this world government. And you all know Harari, one of their top spokesmen, came out, said, played today on the main show. He said, the New World Order's over. Our global government's over. And he goes, you know, these people don't want to swear allegiance to their world government. Like you will eat bugs. It's like, we will shoot you in the head. It's like, we do own your body. He goes, like, yeah, you need to swear allegiance to your global government. It's just insane, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I have a smaller crew here at night, so I like to spring stuff on them. They're doing a great job. But I hate to say something like that and then not play it. I did play it. He did say it. See if you can find that. We'll play it later. But it's just in that weird Harari accent I really can't imitate. He's like, and then they don't want to be there with the I can't do it. It's like,
hell no.
They want to be with their nation and be allegiance to that and not their global government. Why not global government? That's not what he sounds like. I can do certain imitations really good, but that swarmy voice is just, I just can't nail it. In fact, I can't get anywhere close to it. So, it's unbelievable. But at least we have forced these monsters absolutely out in the open. So here's Musk telling it like it is, that he's all in, and if these people get in, they're coming after him. Well, they already are. And obviously, I don't have to tell you, they're coming after me because they got to get through me to get to you. Trump says that all the time, and it's true. So here's Elon Musk on Rogan today here in Austin.
Thank you so much for buying Twitter. Thank you so much. I'm not exaggerating when I think you changed the course of history. I really do. I really think you made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented. Forget about what they were able to do back when they had newspapers and the media under control. What they were doing with social media by suppressing information, and when you had a combined government effort, like what they were doing with the laptop story. We have 51 former intelligence agents saying that this is Russian disinformation, take it offline, and Twitter complied. If you didn't buy that, we wouldn't have known that. We had no idea.
Exactly. No, it's. I mean, the reason I bought it is because I'm pretty attuned since I was like the most interacted with user on Twitter before the acquisition. So before the acquisition, I had more interactions than like there's some accounts like Obama and whatever had higher follow accounts, but I had the most number of interactions of any account in the system. So I was very attuned to like if they change the system, I can tell immediately. Like, and I'm like, something weird is going on here, you know? Like, there's like I just got increasingly uneasy. And obviously, when they deplatformed a sitting president, you know, not deplatformed Trump, that was just insane. You know, and the things he was posting, like he was posting things that like he was posting good things. He was saying like, hey, do not riot, don't do any destruction of property. You know, please stay calm. Like that's the kind of stuff he was posting.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's wrong with that? That's and then some people say like, oh, that's like some sort of dog whistle. He means the opposite. I'm like, okay, so we'll give Trump's account. Now you post what you think you should post, because you can post nothing. You can ask people to calm down. Like what? It was insane. Like it didn't make any sense.
Well, it's completely illogical when you say it's dog whistling to tell his followers to not be violent. That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Don't you think they will listen to him?
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole point? They listened to him and created violence in the first place? That's what you think. That's what you're accusing him of.
Right.
And then there's the fact that we know that there was agents in the crowd that were agent provocateurs that were encouraging people to do illegal shit.
Yes.
We know that for a fact. This is not... That it was always the big Alex Jones type tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, because Alex proposed that back at the World Trade Organization protests. I believe we're in Seattle in the 90s. And they sent in agent provocateurs, started smashing things, lighting things on fire. Now all of a sudden the peaceful protest is no longer peaceful.
Right.
They move in the cops, they shut everything down. They had it set up where it was a no protest zone, where you couldn't even have a pin that had the WTO with a red line through it. They wouldn't let you go in through to go to work. So you couldn't protest, you couldn't exercise your First Amendment rights. You couldn't even like have a peaceful protest, a fucking sticker on your car. You couldn't have that. It's crazy.
It's crazy. So no, I think we're very much at a fork in the road in Destiny, you know, so I mean the reason I did the Twitter acquisition was like, it's like, man, if I don't do this, I think we're screwed. Is the issue.
Well, if you didn't do it, no one else was going to do it because it wasn't a financial winner. It was kind of a crazy move.
It's a crazy move. I mean, the thing was way overpriced, you know, like long term, I think we can ultimately make it a win for investors. But boy, this is a hard way to make a living.
Well, there's also a concerted effort to suppress it. There's a concerted effort with the advertisers.
Well, we had I still have a massive advertiser boycott that was organized by a bunch of left-wing NGOs. Like you know, and you always want. And I should have brought my. I have a hat, Make Orwell Fiction Again.
I've seen that hat.
Yeah, I should have brought. I was going to wear my. I should have brought my Make Orwell Fiction hat again. Yeah, I mean it's just totally nuts. So,
if you didn't do it, no one would have. And here's the hilarious narrative that I keep hearing from idiots. Elon's a bad businessman. Twitter is worth, 400% less than when he bought it. No, it wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth $44 billion, you fucking morons.
Yeah.
Like, wrong. And also, you're not taking into account the advertiser boycott.
Exactly.
That's total bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So there are these organizations, like you can tell there's they're like when they have an Orwellian name. So like the Center for Countering Digital Hate is a total scam organization, because they're like the Ministry of Truth.
Yeah.
Thing,
Oh my gosh.
They're a censorship organization.
Yeah.
And they organize and they pushed the advertisers to boycott. So we still have some of the boycott is starting to lift.
Dude, fuck off.
And I think if Trump wins, we'll see probably most of the boycott lift. But if Kamala wins, we'll see that boycott get stronger. And they'll freaking shut down. There's no way that the sort of Kamala puppet regime would allow X to exist.
You really think that they'll be able to shut it down, though? Is there a pathway to that?
Yes.
So, absolutely, they will shut it down. They've got to go to total tyranny because the awakening's so big, they're never going to stop us. So they know they're losing a losing battle. They're in a losing battle unless they can do that. Post of American Journal, weekday.
Bitch ass ads.
Mornings, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the Embattled InfoWars Network, where the last
Damn, son,
few
I
shows
just
could be shut down.
Fucking dropped 58 kills, boy. Holy shit.
On after the 13th in just 7-8 days. That's how existential and real this is, and emblematic, a canary in the coal mine of what's happening to free press in this country. First they came for Alex Jones, then they come for Elon Musk, then they come for you. I warned Trump personally. I said, I've been banned. You should do something about it. You'll be banned one day. And a few years later, he was banned off of everything. So the day he was up there saying, don't be violent, they didn't want that seen. So that's what they took down. That's what Joe Rogan and Elon Musk were talking about. And again, I just want everybody to think about this for a moment.
No, he said, I'm about to catch up with the comments real quick. He said, I feel like the ads are intentional to distract those with poor attention spans from important parts of his show. I feel like the ads are there to distract people in general. I don't think it matters what they're watching. I feel like the ads are there on purpose to intentionally distract people. Actual ass ad, like, to get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Open world government. You all know Harari saying if Trump gets in, the New World Order is destroyed, and we won't pledge allegiance to our world government. Remember, that didn't exist. That was crazy. Now it's just out there. He's a great patriot and a journalist and a really great reporter. He also edits some wonderful viral videos. You're a father, married, got 3 kids, and just gut level, how epic is it to be in the middle of this, not just living through it, to be part of fighting it, and to see the tide turning so quickly, but also seeing evil come in and the empire striking back, and then just all these developments, the new white supremacist that was going to blow up the power grid in Tennessee, that we predicted would happen. I don't have the crew to even find the clips. Everybody's heard me say it probably 100 times the last 6 months, you too. And then I'm really concerned that we busted this one, but the others got through in the next few days or during the contested election, and the Democrats have been caught in all the fraud this time, so they can't deny it. I mean, everything they're doing is turning to crap, but they've still got control of the system, so they keep executing, even though it just digs the hole deeper. It's the unstoppable force comes into contact with the immovable object right now. So, host of American Journal, Harrison Smith, your take on the waterfront.
Wow, no, I mean, talk about an incredible... history-making epic right now. I mean, this is the inflection point. This is the crucible. And we've sort of known that for a while, but it's becoming incredibly real right now. I mean, just the fact that you've got the most famous man in the world, Donald Trump, the richest man in the history of the world, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan just endorsed Trump. I mean, this is such a vindication for everything that you've been working towards for the last 30 years. RFK Jr., the fact that fluoride is now exposed, vaccines are exposed. I mean, literally everything is coming out. So it makes perfect sense that the bad guys are going to panic. They have worked just as hard and for even longer to try to build up this system, but it can't stand up to scrutiny. It can't stand up to free speech. Thank God for Elon Musk. And I loved what you said earlier. I was watching and you said, you can't fake this. You can't fake awakening. You can't fake the truth. I mean, once you say it, once it's out there, it's out there. There's no taking it back.
It's contagious.
It gets people thinking. I mean, it's incredible vindication at the same time, as you've been pointing out, as we've all been pointing out, because, you know, their playbook, as again you always say, it doesn't take a super genius to figure it out. You just sort of look at the patterns. The fact that they supposedly busted a right-wing terrorist group that was going to attack a polling place, I mean, that was the most predictable thing ever, because that's what they've been saying. I'm frankly surprised that they caught it before it went off. I mean, I am still expecting false flags. But the fact that the real sort of no matter who wins, we know the leftist gangs are ready to be launched, and the Civil War conditions that Jamie Raskin has talked about, and we've played that clip over and over on our show, so we're helping to wake people up about that. Or whether it's Trump supporters just refusing to believe that this election isn't Trump's to win. I think the support is so overwhelming. The campaign has just finished stronger than you could have possibly imagined. It's a real miraculous thing we're living through right now, Alex. And you know, no matter what happens tomorrow, because we're right on the edge here. You know, if you track like the human consciousness or awakening or the desire for liberty on a chart like a stock, you know, you get ups and downs, you get dips.
Bro, I know y'all see this shit, right? What the fuck?
Straight up, we are awakening more people.
This shit is tripping.
You ever could have possibly imagined. And the fact that I'm associated with this at all, you know, I used to, before I joined InfoWars, I used to read about ancient Rome and the fact that like for entertainment, the citizens would go and watch the debates at the forum, and I always thought, how cool would it be to be one of those guys, to be, and because then your words are written down by one scribe or another, and then 2,000 years later, people are still reading your oratory, and it was just like, what a cool culture that would have been to be a part of, to be able to go and have these arguments in public, and crowds cheering or jeering, and I always loved that idea, and like that's what we're doing. This is just the modern version of that, the forum, the public forum, open debate, being, actually changing the world through the arguments that you make. It's an incredible and frankly unbelievable honor to be a part of this whatsoever. So I have you to thank for that, and of course we all have you to thank for setting the stage to get us here. Like, if these are the new founding fathers, from RFK to Donald Trump to Joe Rogan to Elon Musk, and seriously, I wonder what history will look back at these guys. I think if they're successful, it will be almost a second generation of founding fathers. In that case, I guess you're like the Ben Franklin, or I don't know. I'm not sure who you'd be. The Locke. You sort of presaged all of it, sort of set the stage for. I guess Paul Revere. I guess it's the classic icon of Paul Revere and sounding the warning and setting the stage. So everybody can follow after you.
Well, I want to be clear. I was just already informed and knew about all this stuff when I was very young, and so the internet came along, and I got on Access TV, and I got a local radio, so yes, the guests, the operation, the films, we were the genesis point, basically taking over the political views of the Tea Party that came along, and it was Ron Paul, it was a lot of things, but if you say the full awakening was 100 pounds of lead for bullets in the InfoWars has been the critical detonator in all of that, and in the genesis point of it, the InfoWars family has been really 60, 70, 80% of that. The old timers were way more elegant and way more smart than I was, and wrote books and had lived it, and it was all these former generals and people and people that were the head archivists of the Senate, Anthony Sutton, and folks like that. But they were speaking at cocktail dinners and in crowds of 100 people and writing books. And so I was reading that, and there were only a few other people that were popularizing it, but most of them mixed in UFOs and things. It's not that I don't think there aren't UFOs or stuff going on. It's just that would let you have a radio show if you mixed in chupacabras and ghost stories and all of that, like Coast to Coast, which is fine. But then it wasn't taken serious. I didn't do that. And so I did a serious show. And so, yeah, it is crazy that even the establishment points at us. And the reason I always say it's not me, it's all of us, is it was the people. And I was just able to popularize and get all these other people on air. And then I wanted to be able to show people stuff I was talking about on radio. So I started making documentaries, which was perfect, that went super viral. And so it's just God's hand has been on this the whole time. And now to see from how small it went, from teeny tiny patriot groups, less than 1% that knew what was going on, to the time I get on air, and in the last 30 years, 5%, 8%, 12%, 20%, 30%, and then now it's like approaching half that know about the New World Order, and the UN's not elected, and they run us, and it's global. I mean, this is exciting. But, as I said, for every action, opposite equal reaction, Newtonian physics, now we got to get ready for the system to bring the pain, and that's where we're at right now. And the question is, how crazy will this get? It's all speculation at this point, but gut level, with all their pre-programming, what do you think they're going to pull? How do you think this election's about to go down, Harrison Smith?
Well, we've seen the fraud. I mean, I've been really impressed with the RNC's ability to deploy lawyers and stop some of the more egregious fraud. So I'm hoping we're not going to have reliving 2020, sitting there going, what is happening? Just kind of baffled as they stole it right in front of us. I mean, that was such a strange sensation watching that on election night in 2020. So we're not going to have a repeat of that. The way that I've seen over the last couple of months, people from Mark Zuckerberg to just a lot of people that you wouldn't have expected to sort of embrace
fucking ads.
Trump or come around to it, or at least start to ease that way. it seems like they have seen this as a foregone conclusion for a while and know that Trump's going to win. It's the radical elements I think we have to worry about, and the plan that we know they have. You know, George Soros, I'm not sure if you saw this story, did a war game scenario, sort of an Event 201 style, but about the election with like 175 former military guys in like May and June of this year. So, and of course, if you know anything about Event 201, if you can, and you can basically watch the whole thing on YouTube, they spend about 10% of the time actually talking, as you would expect a group of people who were gathering together to talk about the threat of a novel virus. You know, talking about how to stop the spread of disease and, you know, what methods can be done for research and what signaling capabilities you have, all this sort of stuff. About 10% was done on that. And the other 90% was how to manage the media during the crisis, how to stop anti-vaxxers, you know, before they start, and how to, you know, make sure that any sort of lab leak theory is put down, because that can make people question the vaccines that we're going to come out with. So it was all about managing the media appearance. So no matter what happens, it's important that InfoWars is on the air and that people have an X, you know, remains up, so people have an alternative to the mainstream media, because whether it's left-wing groups launching violence because of Trump winning, or because it's right-wingers who get pissed off at the fraud and, you know, go to state capitals or whatever, I don't really know what's going to happen next. But I know they have already war-gamed this and game planned it and plan to take advantage of it with everything they've got. Now, they sort of screwed themselves over, because after January 6, 2021, they changed the rules where before it only took one person to object, and then they'd have to do the recount, or they'd have to, you know, investigate and do the 10-day pause. And they took that away. So, you know, the idea that they'll be able to object on January 6th, and that, you know, Kamala Harris as vice president will be able to, you know, do a 10-day pause or anything like that, that's kind of out the window because of the leftists' own reaction to January 6, 2021. But Jamie Raskin's talked about the 14th Amendment. I don't know if that's possible either. I think at this point, what I'm seeing is that they've sort of accepted a Trump presidency and are going to try to figure out how to, you know, progress through that. But I don't want to get too cocky. And the thing I predicted last December was that Trump would get through all of his legal problems. He would get to the election. I thought he would win the election, and only after that would he be assassinated in some sort of false flag attack where the enemy of the hour was blamed, whether that's white supremacists or a Hamas person or an Iranian. But if I was just thinking about what would cause the most chaos, what would give me as the evil, you know, string puller behind the curtains, what would give me the most advantage, it would be to sort of build up the hopes of the Trump supporters all the way to the election, give them the victory, make them feel like they won, and then rip it all away, plunge the country into...
Would definitely do that if they can get away with it, but there's so many
That's
people
crazy.
in the government.
And again,
I'm not ever
I never thought about it like that. I never thought about how they would sit around and pretend like, oh, y'all won this, that, and the third, and then turn around and just kill them like that. I didn't think about an outcome like that. That's wild. That's a bro. That's a pretty crazy way to see it. And dude, these fucking people are sweating like a motherfucker on here, bro. Shit. That's a crazy way of viewing it, bro. I never looked at it like that. It's pretty wild.
Fit in the government. It's way too big. It's out of control. But also this idea that it's all one monolithic maniacal evil. No, at the top, it's globalist 100% following an agenda, and it's totally evil at the top. There's a few like General Flynn, and they, you know, get rid of them really quickly. So they've really taken over the top of the government, the military, all of it. People, as the military will say, that's the worst people. That's who cooked up the bioweapon. That was, you know, their directive as the military by the globalists that they carry out the killings. So they created it and
bro,
through China. And
how is he not fucking,
so-called vaccines,
dude?
Larger plane.
Dude, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Whistleblowing and exposing, and that's what's really scaring the globalists. And there's a big awakening as well, and so much happening. And plus, internationally, a lot of other countries are lining up against the globalists. We're not saying those countries are good either. But the point is, their power's slipping away. They're not managing the information. The censorship's not working. And so they're just going to try the impeachment again. Members of Congress, Republicans have come out and said that the Democrats are openly preparing new articles. So we're going to see a replay of what we saw 8 years ago, except this time people are wise to it. And so other than being able to assassinate Trump or start a massive new war, which Israel's trying to do. And I mean, the Russian former president, who's also on the cabinet, said the U.S. election won't change Ukraine war. Trump may get assassinated by deep state intervenes. So that's Medvedev saying that, and I pretty much agree with that. And I think Trump will still go ahead with trying to shut it down, and they're going to try to kill Trump. I mean, it's just, well, that's just where we are.
And this is another thing that they've been doing is they've been Trump-proofing everything, right? So with the Ukraine funding, they were worried Trump's going to get in and cut our funding. So in the last bills that they passed, it was like a 10-year funding agreement. So, and they've done that with a lot of things where they go, okay, Trump's going to get in and try to mess this up. So let's get the agreement going now that you can't change this for 5 years. So let's get through the next Trump presidency to where the funding remains for at least that 5 years. Then we can come back and revisit it. So I know the U.S. government and like the UN and NATO for funding for Ukraine, they've Trump-proofed a lot of their plans. So again, it seems like they almost have accepted that Trump is going to win, and they're.
That's crazy, bro. They really going through all that shit. Like they're Trump-proofing shit, bro. Like it's wild, bro. Like they don't give a fuck about us at all. They don't give a fuck about it at all, bro. Like them sitting around saying, "Oh yeah, well we're making sure Trump don't change this and Trump don't change that." Yeah, do y'all realize that shit affects us too? Like all that funding and shit that's going to Ukraine and all that shit, that's our money that we should have in our pockets, but it's not because it's going to some other fucking country that hasn't done a damn thing for us. Like, come on now. When you think about it like that, that shit should piss you off.
They're trying to preemptively deal with some of that. But no, you're right. They're going to go completely insane. And if Kamala wins, I mean, that's when we're really in trouble. I think Elon Musk's warning about X is exactly right. And we know that the way that they carry that out as well is they'll go after Starlink, they'll go after SpaceX, they'll go after his other companies and attempt to pressure him to shut down X. And it's not going to be good if Kamala takes over. The good news is if Trump wins, if they do manage, if they do manage to assassinate him, J.D. Vance would then become president. So even though they haven't been inaugurated, as I understand it, traditionally the vice president would step into the president and be inaugurated. So it wouldn't that wouldn't mess anything up. And I think J.D. Vance is about as good as you can get outside of Thomas Massie, Ron Paul, and Donald Trump. J.D. Vance is right up there with him, and he's still young. So the future looks bright, Alex, I think. I mean, I don't know which way this goes, but the trajectory of everything has been so impressive.
Definitely the awakening and the globalists being exposed. It's not just that we're waking up, all their election fraud in live time. I mean, it's just that they're burning up in front of us, and we know they want puppets, we know they want minions, but I mean, my God, Walz and Harris are like two of the most unsavory, disingenuous, disgusting, just revolting people. I mean, I've looked at Harris and her behavior and said, have I ever seen somebody that makes my skin crawl like this? Maybe Brian Stelter. And then comes Tim Walz, and he's almost more weird and creepy and revolting than her. Like, what the hell? Why would you? Why? Where do you find these people? I mean, maybe Pumpkinhead Congress pencil neck Pumpkinhead.
Schiff, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty damn creepy too.
It's beyond description. I mean, the whole thing has been so utterly bizarre. And these things, they're almost become cliche, but it's because it's so true. The fact that they put her in 100 days out, no vote, no primary. She was the least popular person in the previous primary. I mean, we don't need to go over all this stuff, but it is absurd that these people are anywhere near the levers of power, especially somebody like Kamala Harris, who just has proven time and time again she cannot even answer questions. She can't answer the most basic questions that are, if I was setting up a presidential campaign, I'd go, here's what they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you, what are you going to do on day one? Here's the answer you have. Just that. So, the conspiracy theorist in me goes, they ran the first person on purpose, almost as a demoralizing psychological operation, because thinking they could rig, cheat, and get her in.
Well, that's not your opinion. That's not your opinion. I remember 14 years ago, it was a Bloomberg headline about it. At the Davos group, they said, we're going to put in demoralizing idiot puppets. That'll discredit the national systems that we'll bring in and basically have appointed technocrats that run things. So did you see her weirdo beard or Harris's husband, say today.
The second gentleman?
The second gentleman, that when she was selected, appointed, you know, that when my wife found out that she was the nominee without ever being in a primary, she put her head down and went to work. And boy, folks had fun with that. Put her head down indeed.
Hell no. I think I just got what he fucking meant, bro. It's crazy. This dude, what it sounded like to me, he pretty much said that she sucked somebody off to get to get that position. That's wild. But man, it's a lot of fucking shit, boy. It's a lot of shit that's going down. This shit's important as fuck, whether you think it is or not, bro. This is history in the making. We're literally watching history unfold right before our eyes. And it might not seem like it's a big deal, but it really fucking is, bro. It's like you heard Trump say, do you want liberty or do you want tyranny? You want freedom? You want slavery? Which one you want? If you want the latter of the two, then you're fucking retarded. Like, straight up. You're stupid. Who the fuck wants to be a slave? Who wants to live working 3 jobs just to barely get by? I know I sure as hell wouldn't want to live like that. So who the fuck else wants to live like that? I don't know. I don't know. I think you gotta have some missing brain cells. I think you probably don't even have any brain cells if that's how you want to live. You want to give all the money away to other countries who don't do a fucking thing for us. You want to be a slave to the Matrix, not able to go wherever you want because you don't have no damn money. You don't want to do none of that shit, bro. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy, bro. You can't make the shit up. But yeah, man, shit. I'm definitely going to continue this video. 1 hour and 2 minutes is where this is leaving off at. Hopefully I'll remember that. 1 hour and 2 minutes. Alex Jones be speaking facts, bro. Like, he's been saying shit for a long time. And people think, oh, because he says something, oh, it doesn't happen tomorrow or it doesn't happen the next day. He's lying. Some things, bro, like, some things take a while for it to happen. Some things take a while for it to take place. You know, it's not like he's like, ooh, well, Trump's gonna die. They're gonna try and kill Trump tomorrow, and the next thing you know, boom, someone shouldn't. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, bro. He's telling you the plans, and of the people who run the Matrix. And you're sitting around like, ooh, well, it's not happening, so he's lying. Like, y'all gotta understand that people who run the Matrix work on a long-term schedule, not a short-term schedule. They work on a long-term schedule. So while y'all are out here clowning Alex Jones, clowning Andrew Tate, clowning all these people who are speaking up for facts, speaking up for the truth, telling y'all what it is, y'all are clowning them, but they already know what's happening. They're trying to tell you too. The enemy works on a long-term schedule, not a short-term. Because if it was a short-term schedule, then everybody would see it. Everybody would know it was going to happen, and they wouldn't stand for it. Whereas if they lull you into it without you even fucking realizing it, that's how they get you, and that's a fact. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and call this here. This was a pretty good run. Went up fucking almost pretty much 4 levels tonight. So I'd say it's a pretty good run. Make sure y'all share with your friends, your families, your mummies, aunties, and grannies, and everybody else that y'all know. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, and I will see y'all in the next one, man. I didn't want to take a screenshot.